just before New Year, my husband discovered my secret. Our marriage had hit a rough patch, especially in the bedroom, and I found myself seeking attention elsewhere. It wasn't my intention for things to spiral into an affair. One day, feeling bored and disconnected, I logged into a popular dating site. I took precautions, concealing my face but sharing pictures of my body to avoid recognition. Surprisingly, I received attention from various guys, and soon, seeking this attention became a habit. Among the many responses, one man stood out. He too was married, and we were both aware of our relationship statuses. Our interactions escalated, leading to a date where things became physically intimate on the very first day. Thus began a passionate and intense affair that spanned 4 months, until the inevitable happened. My husband caught us. Our downfall came when we got careless. I started inviting him to my house when my husband wasn't around, and that's when the truth unraveled. The consequences of our actions became unavoidable, changing the course of our lives forever. Little did I know, my husband had suspicions about my affair. Unbeknownst to me, he used a hidden camera to capture moments between me and my affair partner. When he finally confronted me with the evidence, shock washed over me. He unleashed a barrage of hurtful words I never thought could come from him. Witnessing his reaction was the most devastating experience of my life. I regretted deeply that my actions had led to such pain. He demanded that I leave immediately, and so, for a week, I sought solace at my mum's place. After a few days, we had a conversation. He expressed that overcoming this betrayal was something he wasn't sure he could do. However, he allowed me to return home temporarily while I figured out my next steps. Since then, he hasn't been open to discussing anything, not the affair, not the future, not our relationship. He reiterated that he couldn't envision moving past this. I understand the gravity of my actions. I'm engulfed in shame for what I've done, and my heart aches at the thought of hurting him. The path to rebuilding seems uncertain, and the weight of remorse hangs heavy in the air. Despite everything, he insists on us being friends, and we've met a few times. I message him every day, checking in on how he is doing, but sometimes I receive no response. He was cold toward me, and later asked me to move out again, and I'm afraid that this time it's permanent. It's been about 6 weeks since I moved out, and this separation has hit me with the full force of the enormity and horror of my actions. It's crystal clear how much he truly means to me. Life without him feels aimless, and I'm grappling with the realization of how I could make such foolish and devastating decisions. He's the one for me, and I'm ready to do whatever it takes for another chance. I long for an opportunity to demonstrate the depth of my love, to rebuild the trust and faith he had in me, and to mend our marriage. But is that even possible when he avoids discussing anything? I've given him space, not wanting to pressure him into talking, but there's this fear creeping in. I'm afraid that as more time passes, he might come to the realization that he's better off without me. The uncertainty of the future and the desire to make amends weigh heavily on my heart. I've taken part in some individual counseling to delve into what led me down the path of my actions. I now understand the reasons behind my choices, and I'm certain I would never repeat such a mistake with anyone. However, I find myself at a loss about what steps to take next. I'm seeking advice on how to initiate a conversation with my betrayed spouse to explore if there's a possibility of working things out and rebuilding enough trust for him to consider a reconciliation. The affair began with online chats spanning several months before we eventually met up. While we met multiple times, it was more of a physical affair that I didn't think was going anywhere, and it just got out of hand. I admit that my actions were entirely selfish and driven by foolish reasons. Intimacy had been lacking in my marriage for an extended period, and we struggled to address or improve the situation. Compounded by my low self-esteem, I sought someone to talk to, someone who could understand. Regrettably, I allowed the situation to escalate, even though I knew it wasn't what I truly wanted, and it didn't bring me happiness. Reader comment: understanding is just the beginning. If you can't unravel why you prioritized your needs over his, and in turn jeopardized the relationship, it's crucial for you to address this. Without comprehending the root causes, you may struggle to become a trustworthy partner, not just for him, but for anyone. Additionally, reflect on whether this behavior is a one-time occurrence or a pattern in your current or past relationships. Seeking individual counseling is a wise step to explore these aspects and gain a deeper understanding of yourself. There are insightful contributors on the WW link who share their self-awareness journeys, which might be beneficial. Lastly, heed the advice on how to approach your betrayed spouse, as mishandling such conversations can lead to irreparable damage. My own situation ended up with STBX, soon to be X, because my soon-to-be ex-wife mishandled it. Original poster. I realize there's a bit of contradiction in my post. I've already started individual counseling, and I've gained insights into my feelings and the reasons behind my actions. I can sincerely say that I've learned the gravity of my mistakes and what I should have done differently. I'm genuinely afraid of jeopardizing things, and it's a delicate balance between not pushing too hard and ensuring I'm fighting hard enough. It's a complex situation, and I want to navigate it with care to avoid making things worse. I'm truly committed to not messing things up, but I'm grappling with the fear of either pushing too hard or not fighting hard enough. Hope that makes sense. Reader comment, no stop sign. Here's some advice from a betrayed spouse whose soon-to-be ex-wife could have written a post identical to yours. Do not lie. Honesty is crucial in rebuilding trust. Do not blame, shift. Take responsibility for your actions without placing the blame elsewhere. Do not minimize. Acknowledge the gravity of the situation. Downplaying it can cause more harm. Damage limitation does not work. Trying to minimize the impact can, ironically, lead to more damage than you might anticipate. It's essential to confront the reality head-on. Original poster. I appreciate your guidance. I want to make it clear that I have no intention of shifting blame or avoiding responsibility for my actions. I've realized the importance of honesty moving forward, although I deeply regret that I can't change the past. I'm committed to being transparent with my betrayed spouse, sharing whatever information he needs and wants to know so he can make informed decisions. Reader comment. Was the most devastating part discovering the affair, or was it the affair itself? May I inquire about the affair partner, how long it went on, and what motivated your actions? I'm struggling to comprehend this aspect. You mentioned having another guy. Why not be with him now? There's no need for secrecy or clandestine planning anymore. Perhaps your husband makes more money. Having these details can help people understand the context better and shape their responses to your situation. Original poster. Absolutely. Having the affair itself was devastating. What I meant was that the stark reality of how much I had hurt my betrayed spouse and witnessing that pain was also utterly devastating. It served as a colossal wake-up call to the gravity of my actions. As mentioned in a previous post, I want to clarify why I embarked on this path. It involved a stranger I had been confiding in and chatting with on a dating site. I allowed the situation to unfold, not to sound callous, but I recognize that I made choices I hadn't initially intended to, and I am deeply ashamed of those decisions. The discovery of the affair felt like a well-deserved slap across the face. It forced me to confront what truly mattered to me, separating fantasy from reality. It made me realize that I had jeopardized and betrayed the person I loved for a fantasy that hadn't even brought me happiness. In my world, money doesn't hold much relevance. The affair partner boasts an extremely well-paid job and has even expressed a desire for more. So, you're correct. I could be with him without the need for secrecy. However, that's not what I want. I firmly believe my betrayed spouse is the man for me, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to have a future with him, even though I'm fully aware that I may not deserve it. I've been respecting his freedom of choice, and that feels right to me. However, the passage of time is a source of fear for me. I'm currently working with a therapist, and I want to clarify that my desire to reconcile doesn't stem solely from guilt, although I do feel it. It comes from a deep realization of all the wonderful aspects of our relationship and friendship. I want to preserve and enhance that despite the lack of intimacy. I'm yearning for the opportunity to earn back his trust and rebuild our relationship to include those vital elements. This experience has truly opened my eyes to what I had, and I don't want to be without that or him. Reader comment: why was there no intimacy in your marriage for such a long time? What led to this issue? Original poster: several factors contributed to it. We found ourselves in a bit of a rut. Both of us had stopped putting in effort, and we were both tired. I realize it might sound like a string of excuses. At one point last year, I felt we were more like friends than a husband and wife. There were moments when I genuinely considered ending the relationship. However, now I know that I want to put in the effort to work on us more than anything. I crave the chance to experience a genuine, meaningful relationship once again. Reader comment: many who have strayed experience a come-to-Jesus moment when they realize their betrayed spouse was the source of their comfortable lifestyle. It might help if you shift focus away from what you've lost, as fantastic as it was, and concentrate more on what your husband is going through. This shift is crucial in distinguishing between remorse and regret. You mentioned he avoids talking about it, yet he still stays in touch with you. If I were in your shoes, I'd shift the conversation away from my personal improvements and focus more on understanding his feelings and what he's going through. It's crucial to encourage him to open up, even if he seems reluctant. Communication is the key, and although he may not talk initially, that's what you want to work towards. He's undergone a significant shock, and showing genuine interest in his well-being and emotions could be a way to rebuild that connection. Even small steps in getting him to share his thoughts can make a big difference. Ensuring you maintain no contact with the affair partner is vital. If there's any attempt from the AP to contact you, inform your betrayed husband immediately. Your ongoing honesty, despite your fears, is crucial at this point. Additionally, living under the same roof post-infidelity can be challenging. While separation allows the wayward spouse to grasp the magnitude of what's been lost, it can also pose obstacles to effective communication. Finding the right balance is essential. The crucial steps involve discovering what your betrayed husband is feeling, understanding his desires, and finding out what actions he wants you to take. It's vital to know the conditions under which he would consider letting you come home, and then diligently adhere to those conditions. Shift your focus from what you may have lost to understanding what he's lost in this situation. It's a perspective that could be instrumental in rebuilding trust. Original poster: thank you for your response. I was emphasizing that I recognize the need to work on myself to show that I'm committed to understanding why I made the choices I did and addressing those issues. Understanding his wants and what he would permit is indeed crucial. Believe me, I'm intensely focused on what he's going through, and it genuinely pains me that I caused him this hurt. Reader comment: lack of intimacy isn't the reason you cheated, and attributing it as such is shifting blame. It seems like you're implying that because you weren't getting what you wanted from your husband, you sought it elsewhere. You mentioned both of you contributing to the problem and a lapse in effort. When you're unhappy, the right approach is to communicate with your husband. If things don't improve, then decisions about separation or divorce might be on the table. However, cheating isn't a solution. While your husband may have played a role in the troubled marriage, you still had other choices. You opted to cheat when you could have considered leaving. Is the other man married? Has either you or your husband informed his wife? Also, it's clear that your affair involved both physical and emotional aspects. Original poster: I'm not shifting blame. I'm simply acknowledging there was a lack of intimacy, and both of us had stopped trying. I attempted to address it through conversation on multiple occasions. I'm not suggesting that the lack of intimacy justified seeking what I wanted elsewhere. I recognize I should have made my husband listen, engage in dialogue, and ultimately, I should have made any decision rather than resorting to cheating.
But the truth is, I messed up.
I made a foolish, selfish decision that I regret more than anything. I've devastated someone I love, and it makes me feel sick. I'm fully aware of my actions, and despite knowing what a mess I've created, I can't help but hope that somehow we can navigate through this. These past few months have made me realize the profound significance my husband holds in my life. The other man is married, and no, I haven't informed his wife. From my perspective, that's not a decision for me to make. While I can't fathom my husband asking me to take a polygraph, if he does, I'm willing to comply. Realistically, I don't have much hope that he can move past this, and I don't blame him. Nevertheless, I continue to hold on to hope. Reader comment: his wife deserves to know. Since neither he nor your husband has told her, it falls on you to share the truth. You made the decision to have an affair with her husband, accepting the consequences. If you were okay with that, shouldn't you be okay with telling her the truth? You've already intervened for the wrong reasons. Now consider doing it for the right ones. Ceasing to be a wayward goes beyond merely stopping the cheating. It's about doing what's right, being honest, even when it's difficult. Take the initiative and call her without warning the other man first. Your husband might interpret a heads-up as another betrayal, as if you're protecting the OM. Instead of waiting for your husband to ask for a polygraph, consider taking the initiative. It's a proactive step toward rebuilding trust and demonstrating your commitment to honesty. Waywards seeking reconciliation take proactive steps to mend the damage they've caused, often starting with honesty, even in challenging situations. Consider beginning this healing process by being truthful with his wife. Can you share the specific efforts you're making to transform into a safe partner? Original poster: I recognize that being a wayward involves honesty, especially when it's tough. However, I stand firm in my decision that it's not my place to inform his wife. It's not about protecting the other man. It's genuinely what I believe is right. Even though I haven't discussed this with my husband, I know him well enough to understand that it's not something he would want to do. Yes, I interfered in their marriage, but who's to say what their relationship is like? What's been discussed or agreed upon? Just because some may perceive it as the right thing doesn't mean it aligns with my values. How can anyone be certain she would even want to know? We're all different, and what feels right varies from person to person. I'm actively seeking ways to mend the damage I've caused in my relationship with my husband. However, I've made a firm decision to distance myself from my affair partner and, in particular, from involving his wife in this situation. Reader comment: your perspective might be misguided. It seems like you're avoiding telling her due to reasons beyond not wanting to. If there have been discussions or agreements, sharing what she already knows wouldn't hurt, and at the very least, you could offer an apology. Once again, how are you being proactive? While individual counseling is a positive step, it's just one among many things you should consider. Relying solely on IC and waiting may not be sufficient. Original poster: I'm not evading telling her because I don't want to. I'm trying to explain why I believe it's not my place to inform her. How would telling her benefit my husband? I'm actively participating in IC, fully taking responsibility for my actions, and giving my husband the space he needs. At this moment, I'm uncertain about the best course of action. My husband has made it clear that he doesn't want details, and he's avoiding discussions as he is leaning toward divorce. I genuinely seek advice on how to be proactive and provide whatever my husband needs for the best possible resolution. I find this situation perplexing, and I don't believe it makes me unsafe or prone to cheating again. Currently, my betrayed husband has made it clear that he doesn't want any details about the affair partner. He doesn't want to discuss the other man, his circumstances, or anything related. At this moment, my BH has no interest in informing the other betrayed spouse. I've severed all ties with my AP and ended the affair. I don't have any intention of re-entering that world. My actions aren't about protecting the OM or leaving a door open. I've committed something profoundly devastating, and my focus is on moving past it. If my BH were to ask me to re-enter that world for some reason, I would consider it. However, I fundamentally disagree that either I or my BH must disclose the situation to the other